There we go. Welcome back, everybody. How are you all doing? As always, my microphone isn't working. I don't know why. I have no idea why it won't communicate with my computer. I'm getting very annoyed. I think I need to reboot my computer. Maybe Ashley or somebody remind me of that later. But nonetheless, you're going to use my mic on my phone, which is still a good mic, but it's not this mic, which is annoying me. Anyway, you can hear me because it's the mic on my phone, but it's not as good as this guy. Anyway, welcome, everybody. Let me get TikTok rolling here. One moment. I assume we're going to have troll Fantasia again tonight. And I will self-censor myself as always for our glorious communist overlords. It really is kind of sad. Somebody needs to do a big story on that. TikTok was censoring me again last night, by the way. I didn't sort of get into it with you guys, but they sent me a warning. They restricted the broadcast of my show last night because of hateful misinformation. Last night's show, I literally went through all the data on the election, and TikTok restricted the broadcast, how wide it would go, because it was hateful. They are everything their critics claim they are. I have never seen a site, certainly not an American, of course they're a Chinese communist company. I have never seen an American company operate like this in my life. It is your worst nightmare of censorship, because you literally have to censor every word. Last night, every word I was saying, I was censoring myself because I knew TikTok was going to freak out, and they freaked out anyway. It just so bad. In any case, it's very upsetting. All right, let me get gift here. I may even put I think I may put a scarecrow. That's too expensive. Ooh, turkey face. There's the turkey face. Ooh, we like turkey face. Turkey face. I'm going to put a different, mods, get ready. I'm putting a different title on tonight's show. Get ready. All right. I just titled tonight's show on TikTok, "Trump Still Sucks." I mean, that was half for our TikTok overlords and half for just for the trolls. Poor Ashley and Manda. And we'll see. If I need somebody else, let me know, guys. All right, on TikTok to help out. Woo! I just thought it would be kind of funny to do that. La 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 la. Oh well. Welcome, TikTokers. Hello. Welcome. We have many Greek goats to greet you, TikTokers. We have the small Greek goat, and we have the big Greek goat. He screams kind of like the little one, but we still like him. Ashley had me get this guy, although this guy's got a nice little bell. This reminds me of my aunt in Greece. She gave me her little Greek goat. It was very funny. Her little donkey? Maybe it was a donkey she gave me. She had a little Greek donkey. She was my uncle's wife. She was a lovely woman, Aga. Thank you, Russell. Sort of very famous sort of Greek women's advocate. Lovely woman. Very smart. Really cool. She was the one who criticized Hillary Clinton, but she kind of had a point. Like I said, I'll start telling you guys later. Thank you, Succeed. So welcome, everybody. We're still here. We're still standing. Big goat for big trolls. Exactly. Thank you, Jen. So I was kind of in a shitty mood coming up to the show, but for some reason, now I'm kind of in the mood. I don't know why. Thank you, Jen. It's true. Like an hour ago, I almost canceled. I was like, all right, I'm going to bake something. I'm in such a shitty mood. So Ashley sent me a recipe for some blueberry bread, which I cooked up. And for some reason, I had I had like a little too much caffeine. Between the caffeine and the baking, I'm now kind of in a funny mood. I'm not sure why, but why not? Hey, Caitlin, I talk about Ukraine and the election. Basically, I mean, the election, because what do? Kind of the biggest topic in the world right now. America elected a fascist, but Ukraine is still an important topic. And all the more so because of what just happened with Trump and the influence. So we've been covering both, actually. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Martin. So as always, I will start with the latest on our wonderful fascist in chief, and then we'll move on to talk about Ukraine as well. Hey, Hope, thank you for that. Yep. No, you got to cover both. And I am covering Ukraine, but I mean, how do you not cover Trump? This show is going to have to be this is going to be a show now about Trump and about Ukraine for the next 4 years. I mean, there's really no choice. There's really no choice. Any case, so welcome everybody. Hey, Eric in Sweden. 30,000 ballots need recounting. I didn't see that. Guys, I'm not really, thank you, Mr. Lorenk. I'm not a big believer in sort of election conspiracy theories. America does not have a history of cheating in elections. I mean, Republicans tried, Democrats have tried too. Thank you, KT. But there's been literally no history of cheating in American elections. I mean, Trump tried to violently overthrow the government to steal an election. Yes. But as far as like at the ballot box, that stuff doesn't happen in our country. And again, by the way, and this is important, okay? Because this is what I constantly tell you. I can't stand Donald Trump. He's a danger to democracy and to the world. And I've said this. But I'm not going to lie on my show about him. And I'm not going to lie on my show about the issues, because this is something that Trump and the MAGA Republicans do a lot. They lie to you. They've lied about voter fraud and all this kind of crap coming into this election. They remember coming. Oh, Trump. The only way Trump can lose is if the Democrats steal the election. Thank you, Kim. Bullshit. And Trump won. I don't believe, I've seen nothing to suggest that the election was stolen. Oh, you just lies. Well, if I just lies, then I guess that means the election was stolen, because I just said the election wasn't stolen. So if I say the election wasn't stolen and I just lies, according to our troll, then the election was stolen? You Russian trolls think? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. But yeah, that's the difference. And I always say this. That's the difference, thank you, Chazak, between Think Adventures, people who are honest and people who lie to you. And on the MAGA side, there are far too many people who will lie to you about everything. I will not. I don't think there was significant voter fraud at all in this election. Nothing I've seen suggests it. And frankly, America doesn't have significant voter fraud. Donald Trump won. The people wanted him. And again, that's the difference between my show and I think a lot, not people on the left, but people on the right who are kind of there to lie to you. And that's bullshit. Why do I dislike Russia? Not a big fan of genocidal maniacs who go and invade their neighbors and try to steal children. Not a big fan of people who kidnap half of Europe and hold them hostage for 50 years after World War II, after being allies with the Nazis. Yeah, just not a big fan, you know? So yeah, that's my problem with the Russians. Don't hate the Russians, but trying to find a word. I can't really use an adequate word that TikTok would find acceptable, because our communist overlords get very upset when we criticize the Russians and we criticize Trump and stuff. Bottom line is, though, Ronald Reagan called the Soviet Union the evil empire. Thank you, Larissa. The Soviet Union was run by the Russians. The Russians are no different today than they were back then. They're the same people, they're the same government, and they act the same around the world. Vladimir Putin was a communist. He was a communist KGB colonel in the Soviet Union. He's the same man today. He changed hats. He's no longer, communist or whatever, right? I mean, that's like me, right? If America had a revolution and changed its government, I would be the same guy tomorrow that I am today. I'd have the same views. We would just say, well, now America is this kind of government, right? That's Vladimir Putin. So yeah, not a big fan of genocidal hegemonic maniacs who are basically second-rate powers and are pining for the old days when they used to terrorize half the world. Not a fan. Not a fan. I'm an American. We actually believe in trying to make the world better. We don't always succeed, but kind of the difference between Democrats and MAGA Republicans actually too. Somebody actually wrote on Twitter today. I thought it was very interesting. We don't have enough trolls here today. I'm getting a little upset. The trolls, we don't have nearly enough trolls. We need more. But the difference between MAGA Republicans and Democrats, somebody was saying on Twitter today is, thank you, Adventures, if Democrats won the election, they would have been basically saying, okay, MAGA crowd, guess what we're going to do to you? We're going to get you health insurance. We're going to expand Medicare for you MAGA people. If you've got parents who are at home and stuck at home with health problems, we're going to make Medicare cover them so you can take care of your parents better. We're going to help you afford student loans more, right? The MAGA people come to power and they look at the rest of us and they say, we're going to throw you in jail. You're traitors, right? You're the enemy of the people. We're going to deport you. We're going to cut off your Social Security. We're going to cut off your Medicare. I mean, right? It's the difference. But you know what? You just can't, hey, Emil in Prague. And Anyway, let's get rolling, guys. So welcome to my show. Thank you for the hat. Oh, Joris. Oh, there's a cool name. Joris. Joris. Now, I don't recognize the flag. It's not Hungary, is it? Where's the flag from, Joris? I'm not good at my European flags. I'm not good with my European flags at all. Where is that from? And the name Joris. That's Netherlands? It's Dutch. Oh. So you probably pronounce it totally like in Joris. If you're Dutch. I'm pronouncing it like Eastern European or Mediterranean, the way I would probably Joris. You guys is probably like hold on. Alexa, raise the temperature 1 degree. I should not be in a good mood today.
I'm set to 75.
I'm really not sure why I'm in a good mood today. This is very strange. So Syndicate says I pronounced it correctly. Joris. Anyway, so let's talk about the election today. We'll talk about Ukraine. Thank you, Laddie. But again, at this point, I've seen nothing to suggest that the election was stolen. I got news for you, folks. People like fascism. We got a problem. And I've talked about this before. And this is not just an American problem. We knew this wasn't just an American problem. But now we know the problem has come to America. Thank you, Carol. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Remember, I do this for a living. I know I hate to keep hitting you up on it, but the gifts help pay the bills, so thank you. But Americans typically looked at the rest of the world, and we thought you guys were crazy. We thought, you know what? We have our problems, but we're the good guys. We try to do good around the world. Thank you, Julie. And our politics, we get some bad politicians from time to time. Thank you, Adno. But Americans, and thank you, Lucky, typically thought you guys were the crazy people. Right? You Europeans with all your fascist governments and your communist parties and this kind of stuff, right? We thought you guys were the crazy ones. And I've always said this before, that Europeans would typically talk about American politics. Thank you, Lucky. Thank you, Adno, again. Would talk about American politics and say, oh, Democrats and Republicans, there's no difference. Well, there is now. I got news for you. There is now. But once upon a time, they'd say there's really no difference between Democrats and Republicans. And what you guys meant, at least for Europeans, when they said that, what they meant was America tended to be more of a centrist country, center-right. Thank you for subscribing, Susan. Center-right kind of country. And we didn't have the extremes that Europe had. Now, Europeans, I think, liked their extremes because they formed coalition governments. So they liked having small parties on the right and the left and everything. What we've now learned in America is that we too have extremes, that America is not inherently a centrist country. America is not a country, thank you, Bowie, thank you, Darian, thank you, J-Hop, that for whatever historical reason, Europeans might have communist parties and fascist parties, but we never would, right? You had World War II, but we would never have something like that. And when I say World War II, I mean, the bad guys in Germany in the 1930s that we're not allowed to talk about because TikTok overlords get very upset. So maybe we need a word for, maybe rutabaga, the rutabagas. Maybe that's what we'll call them. I think that's what I'm going to call them from now on. The Germans in World War II were the rutabagas. You guys had the rutabagas in World War II and leading up to it. And from American perspective, it was like, oh, that's so European to have crazy people like that. And to thank you, Lino, and to accept the rutabagas, right? That the German people were okay with it and this kind of stuff. America would never do that. We're not crazy like you Europeans, right? Americans used to think that. Now we realize we are crazy like you Europeans. Fascism can take root in America just as easily as it can in Europe. The eggplants. Except eggplant, unfortunately, online has a racist meaning as well. Oh, no, not racist. I'm sorry. Wait. No, eggplant isn't the racist meaning. Isn't eggplant the sex meaning for eggplant? Am I forgetting? Is it racist or is it sexual? I don't remember which, but either way, I'm not going to touch it, so to speak. But we'll let that go. It's the male thing. Okay, yes, the eggplant is the male thing. So let's not do that. I like rutabaga. I think rutabaga is kind of funny. In any case, so Trump is saying, thank you, Aviation, for the gift. Trump is saying that he is going to move ahead with his plan to deport millions of illegals that are here, mostly Mexicans, though there's people from other countries too. I've told you, this is a perfect example of an issue that drives me crazy in America because, and abortion kind of was this way too at one point, although not anymore. Now I think the left on abortion is actually quite sane. But once upon a time, I kind of thought the left kind of was was a bit of the crazy activists, and the right, of course, was terrible. On immigration, you've either got the left that frankly doesn't want to, control our borders, or the right that really, really, really doesn't like Mexicans and brown people, right? That their concern isn't just people I don't want people crossing the border illegally. That pisses me off. But I don't really care if they're brown, right? I don't want white people crossing the border illegally either. I don't want Dutch people crossing the border illegally. It's not fair. It's just not fair. I've had lots of friends who have not been able to come here from Colombia and other countries where they wanted to come to America and they didn't get the lottery. They had to leave. So I don't like people coming here illegally. And I don't have a lot of sympathy. But on the Democratic side, it's sort of this thing of, everybody deserves to be here. Well, no, they don't. I got news for you. It'd be nice if we could help the world and let everybody come in, but it doesn't work that way. On the Republican side, it's like brown people, Donald Trump, right? Remember Donald Trump called people from Africa, but also from Central America, Caribbean countries, including Haiti. Remember, he called them SHIT whole countries. I'm saying that for our communist overlords that get upset when we swear, right? But he called them S-hole countries. He didn't like, and he talked with the Mexicans, and he claimed Mexico was sending us murderers and stuff, that all Mexicans were murderers. By the way, I've met a lot of Mexicans. I haven't met a lot of murderers. I've met a lot of Mexicans in America, immigrants, and I've been to Mexico several times. I was working at the World Bank back in the 1990s, back when they had a Mexico division, and had several trips to Mexico, met with government officials, but also met with just regular everyday Mexicans. And this should not surprise you. Such a vibrant country, such an impressive country culturally, the food. In America, we kind of have this image of Mexican food being good. We like it, but it's kind of Mexican pub grub. I don't know what else to call it, like enchiladas and tacos and this kind of stuff, right? In Mexico, the diversity of food, the taquerias, like the barbecue places for tacos. We went to this fine Mexican restaurant way up in the mountains outside of Mexico City. Exactly like Taco Bell. That's a perfect example, Earth's Moon. Yeah, we think Taco Bell in America. We went to this beautiful Mexican restaurant out in the mountains tops outside of Mexico City. Couldn't tell you the name of it now. With the finance minister, took a bunch of us from the World Bank, and it was the most exquisite meal. I mean, not just wonderful food, different, nuanced cooking, like Mexican fused with French, with European. It was, as an American, you don't grow up knowing that side of Mexico. You think of Mexico as a developing country. You don't think of Mexico as being very developed culturally in many ways. You just don't. You don't. I mean, I'm saying most Americans, that's not what we grow up knowing, right? Even it's like Canada in some ways. Canada, we grew up thinking it's just like America. And Mexico, we grew up thinking it's kind of just poor and south of us and tacos. We don't have this larger image of them. We've got another Russian. We've got a fake troll. See, remember I've told that if I have one lesson that I leave you people, thank you, Betsy, after the years, and I'm not leaving yet, but the years of doing this show, I am going to teach you how to identify trolls online. I'm going to teach you how to identify these people, because the guy just came, and what did he say? Did he say like cry harder or something like that? What did he say? It was, remember I've told you, whenever they post criticisms that don't make sense because they're reading it off of a sheet, or they're bots, frankly, they're automated comments. I was talking about Mexico and how good the cuisine is, and how I think most Americans have no idea of sort of the high Mexican culture of cuisine and everything else in the country. And as I'm saying that, somebody writes on there, cry harder, or get over it. There, thank you, Waldo. Get over it, snowflake. He thinks I'm talking about the election because that's the title of the show. And they don't, basically, again, these accounts are either fake. They're quite possibly run, if they're run by human beings, they're probably run by people who don't speak English very well. and they just tell them to go and write stuff like that because they think it sounds American. But again, it cracks me up because it's important. It's very important to, I think, again, to educate yourself on recognizing the fake stuff online. And that is one of the best ways you can tell if you see somebody criticizing you and literally it has nothing to do with the conversation. Like I said, I'm talking about how amazing Mexican cuisine is and somebody writes, get over it, Snowflake. You want me to get over how good Mexican cuisine is? Really? They're fake. It's a fake account. Thank you, Adventures. Anyway, but it is important because sometimes I think it's important to me because I don't want people engaging with fake accounts or engaging. They're not real accounts. And actually, and that's a good example because people also ask me, like, why do you guys ban accounts? Why do you ban the trolls? That's why we ban them, because they're literally not real people. They're like I said, that account was probably fake. In any case. So yes, Trump wants to, thank you, Dave. Trump plans on deporting millions of Mexicans on day one. I'm not quite sure how he's going to do it. They're saying the cost could be $300 billion. That's another one. See, JA iPhone, you've got to write comments that are relevant to the conversation we're having, or people think you're dumb or they think you're fake. Right? That comment made no sense. We have a very high quality for trolls here. This is a quality broadcast, right? We expect our trolls to be a certain level. We expect your comment to, this is like an English class. Your comment, a 300, 400 level English class. Your comment better be relevant. It better be in proper English, right? So keep it going. Otherwise, Ash and everybody else, ban the crap. Don't ban, mute the fuck out of them. Anybody, just mute the fuck out of all of them. But they're all, good, our numbers are going up. Yay! The Trumpers are here. Welcome. Wait, where is it? Welcome, Trumpers. Thank you for the gift there. Wait, the Trumpers, I think we need to have a dueling gerbil for the Trumpers are here. The Trumpers are here. That's for you, Trumpers. The hamster battles. Don't mess with the hamsters. I thought he was off. Don't mess with the hamsters. Don't mess with the hamsters. Oh my. Do we think we'll see another recession? We may. Trump's economic policies have got a lot of people worried, including the conservative Wall Street Journal. The concern is that Trump is going to cause massive inflation. He's promising massive tariffs on imported goods from Mexico and from China. The problem is, you guys keep telling me I need to do a video on this, and I do need to do a video on this. Tariffs are basically price increases. That's all they are. Trump is promising to increase the price on goods from Mexico anywhere between 25 to 100%, meaning doubling the price of products from Mexico that come into the country and you pay for it. He also plans to increase the price of products coming from China by 25%. That means most things, by the way, most things in America you buy are made in China. You can just at the store, check it out when you go to the store and see where things are made. They're all made in China. Trump wants to increase the price of most things you buy at the store that come from China by 25%. I got news for you, right? Inflation peaked at 20% or whatever, or not even 20, it didn't peak at 20%, it didn't peak at 20. Prices went up 20% over several years, okay? Trump wants to increase prices 25% like that. That's gonna be a problem, sorry. The other concern is also deporting all the illegals who are here. That basically, guess what the people who cross the border illegally from Mexico do? Mexicans, but others as well. They work in America and do jobs that Americans won't do, that Americans refuse to do. The big concern from a lot of economists, including conservative economists, I mean, like I said, the Wall Street Journal talks about this, is that if Trump literally kicks out millions of people who are here illegally, they're people who are working for American companies. Now, they may not be working legally for American companies, but they're working for American companies. And if they get kicked out, they will have to hire Americans. And guess what's going to happen? They're going to have to pay 4 or 5 times as much to hire an American. Not only will that cause American salaries to go up like crazy. Now, you think that's good. guess somebody has to pay for it. If restaurants have to pay their employees 3 and 4 times more, that means they've got to charge you 3 and 4 times more, right? All of these businesses will have to increase prices massively. So there's a lot of concern that Trump is going to massively increase inflation. You were warned. Oh, well, what do you do? You know, I mean, I'm not going to affect me. I mean, it'll affect me, but not as much as these guys. So what do you do? But yeah, so Trump is planning on following through with mass deportations. Trump did announce. Now, this story made me laugh. This story. Now, this is a perfect example of Trump. Perfect example of Trump, and how he's such a hypocrite. He's such a liar. Trump. Remember how during the campaign, Trump was claiming that Kamala Harris, because she was a woman and she was black, she wasn't qualified to be president, and he was calling her a DEI hire. All the Republicans started calling her a DEI. DEI is, what is it? Diversity. I don't even know what the hell it is. Diversity, something, equality and inclusion, maybe? Is that what it means? Again, my favorite is Republicans use this term that like none of us know, right? They pretend like, oh, equity and inclusion. I don't even know what that means. Diversity, equity, and include. Oh, equity meaning like equality? See, these are why these expressions are stupid, by the way. I've never been a fan of these kind of expressions because they're stupid. I don't even know what DEI means. Okay. I mean, I know in concept what it's supposed to mean, but I don't even know what it means. Fair pay. Oh, fair pay is equity. See, but the problem is they shouldn't be using phrase. I always tell people this in marketing. Don't use phrases that people don't know what it is. Like even I thought equity just meant like equality, treating people fairly. It's money. Well, then call it fair pay or something, right? Don't call it equity. It's stupid. In any case, so the Republicans, Trump especially, was claiming that Kamala Harris was not qualified to be vice president or president because she was a black woman. And Biden bragged about hiring a black woman as vice president. That means she was, according to the Republicans, a DEI hire, they said. That means she was unqualified, that she was hired because she was a woman and she was black and not because she was qualified, because Biden bragged about it. Guess what Trump did today? He hired a woman as his chief of staff at the White House, and the very first thing he did was brag about the fact that she's the first woman to be chief of staff at the White House. Now, here's the problem. I think it's great that a woman has been picked as the chief of staff at the White House. That's great. That broke another glass ceiling. That's historic. But if you're Donald Trump and you're literally bragging, it is a well-deserved honor to have Susie as the first ever female chief of staff in U.S. history. If you're going to brag about the fact that you hired her because she's a woman, then how could you criticize Democrats and Kamala Harris for the same thing just 3 months ago? Because Donald Trump is a liar and Donald Trump is a hypocrite who flip-flops all the time. Now, the voters didn't care, right? Every American loves a fascist, to paraphrase Sylvia Plath. Maybe not every. Half of Americans every MAGA loves a fascist, to paraphrase Sylvia Plath. Famous, by the way, for our TikTok overlords, that's a famous American poet. So you might want to look her up first before you get upset about the quotes. Sylvia Plath, famous American poet. Okay, just chill out. Yeah. So I think it's great that they hired a woman, and they're proud that they hired the first ever woman as White House chief of staff. But Republicans always criticize Democrats when they hire women and talk about the fact that this is the first ever woman in this job. So, I'm glad that Trump's being a hypocrite and welcoming the fact that he's elevating women to new positions, but it's kind of funny at the same time. Or not funny because it's typical Trump hypocrisy. All right. Trump. Listen to this. This is fabulous. This is fabulous. Some respect. Some respect. I will never have respect for Donald Trump. He's a fascist. Donald Trump is a convicted felon who tried to violently overthrow our government, was found guilty in a court of law for sexually assaulting a woman, who tried to violently overthrow the government, as I said, who tried to steal the election multiple times, what else has Donald Trump done? He's slurred Mexicans, he's slurred blacks, he's said how he hates our military, he's called our soldiers suckers and losers. I mean, he supports America's enemies and hates America's allies. Let's talk about Donald Trump. I have zero respect for Donald Trump. Zero respect for Donald Trump. He is a horrible human being. He's a horrible American, and he's a horrible president. And it's outrageous that he won the presidency. Absolutely, positively. And you will find that same analysis in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, at CNN, and everywhere else. This is not some fringe point of view about Donald Trump. This is a very mainstream view, and it's a very accurate view. Donald Trump was convicted of 34 felonies. We know that. He's a felon. Donald Trump stole classified information and refused to return it. We know that. We know that. It's a fact. But this is what the Trumpers do, is it's part of the sort of beauty of fascism too, is the idea, and frankly, by the way, this used to be the far left. This was the far right has now become the far left. That's why I say, when they say communists and socialists, the MAGA are the communists now, in terms of the sort of fascism. It's funny because it's fascism, but it's communist at the same time. It's kind of a mix of the two, because the far left used to find beautiful ways of shutting you down. Like, you're not allowed to respond to that because you're a man, that kind of crap. You're not allowed to weigh in because you're white. And they would always find cute ways of shutting you down. Now the MAGA people do the same thing, right? Oh, sure, he's a convicted felon 34 times over, and he tried to violently overthrow the government. He was found liable in a court of law for sexually assaulting a woman. But he's your president. How dare you criticize him? I mean, the beauty of it, right? The beauty of it. Like, that you're wrong for criticizing Trump for being a convicted felon. You're wrong for criticizing Trump for trying to violently overthrow the government. You're wrong for criticizing Trump for calling American soldiers suckers and losers, for volunteering and for getting killed and captured, right? You're the problem. That's fascism. So listen to this. This was fabulous. Trump's people put out a statement about he's talked to 70 world leaders today. Sure, first of all, sure he has. We know Trump's schedule. Trump gets up, he does his hair, he does his hair for like 2 hours, watches Fox News, gets to work around noon. This was at least in the White House, this was the standard operating procedure. He'd get up, eat around 9 a.m., watch Fox News, do his hair for 2 hours, and he'd come down around noon to the Oval Office. And then he'd work till like 5 or 6, and then that was it. So he claims he talked to 70 world leaders today. Bullshit. But listen to this. This made me laugh, though. Again, the Trump delusion. But again, very fascist, though. This is something fascist governments do in terms of think 1984, think of trying to rewrite history. Listen to this. The president-elect spent yesterday speaking to world leaders from Mar-a-Lago in Florida after defeating Kamala Harris. Quote from Trump's staff, quote, "The world leaders were genuinely happy to talk to him and know that he was coming back. And he won this big election, and he said things like he had learned lessons," a senior campaign official said. Across the board, there was a similar sense of both relief and like having an old friend home, world leaders said. I'm sorry, but have you ever heard a bigger crock of garbage? The world leaders said they missed Donald Trump, and it was like having an old friend come home. Yeah, if you're the North Korean press, that's what they said. This is something out of North Korea, right? Oh, the world leaders saw Kim Il-jung, and they said that across the board, there was a similar sense of both relief and like having an old friend home when Kim Jong-il or Kim Il-jung, whoever the hell he is, showed up. I mean, oh my God. I mean, there are three? How many world leaders are glad Trump's in power? Putin, who owns him, Hungary, that idiot, and Slovakia. Otherwise, are there any world leaders that are happy Trump's in power? I mean, maybe Kim in North Korea because Trump loves him too. But I mean, I can't think of any North Koreans. I mean, Belarus, okay, Belarus is happy. Israel, Netanyahu's happy. Yeah. Although Netanyahu and Trump also hate each other at the same time. So there's a funny little kind of thing there. But I mean, let's face it. You could count the world leaders who are happy Trump is in power on probably one hand, two at the best. Right? World leaders are not welcoming an old friend back. They hate him. Most of them hate him. Trump was at the United Nations and the world leaders laughed at him. He talked about, what was the quote from Trump? Does anybody have it handy? Thank you, Dora. Let me pull this up. When Trump was at the United Nations and they laughed at him, let me pull this up. Trump, United Nations laugh. And they literally laughed at him. I'm going to find the actual, here we go. I think he said we're the envy of the world or something. Hang on. Trump told leaders from around the world Tuesday at the United Nations, the American economy is booming like never before, and his administration has accomplished more in less than 2 years than almost any other administration. The entire room started laughing at him. They were laughing at him. I mean, guys, like I'm not a fan, as you know, of the United Nations, but typically you don't get laughed off the stage at the United Nations. You just don't. That is an utter embarrassment. As bad as the United Nations is, they don't laugh world leaders off the stage. They laughed Donald Trump off the stage. He didn't leave. He did say, wow, and even admitted it. He goes, I didn't expect that reaction. Dude. I mean, but yes. So anyway, so this is a funny story too. RFK Jr., you know him, conspiracy theorist who thinks that no vaccines are safe, no vaccines are proven effective, wants to get fluoride out of the drinking water, wants to ban a bunch of vaccines now, thinks the polio vaccine doesn't work. That our brainworm maybe killed a bear. We don't really know. Grabbed a baby bear and was going to eat it and then ditched it and pretended a bicycle killed it. I mean, who knows, right? RFK Jr. is upset that Trump is considering Marco Rubio, senator from Florida, for some senior job, might have been Secretary of State or something. And RFK Jr. is speaking publicly and saying Marco Rubio is a neocon. And he doesn't want Rubio to get a job, which honestly is freaking delicious. This is freaking delicious. Oh, the whale. Did he tie a whale on top of his car or something? Didn't he do something like that? It's Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, T-Savvy. Y-O-U apostrophe R-E. Right? A whale head he tied to the top of his car. I mean, crazy person. But in any case, this is great, though, because they're already having a little civil war in the Republican Party now. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Keep the gifts coming. I do this for a living. You like the show. Help me out. RFK Jr. is now attacking a top Republican senator, saying he better not get a job in the administration. That is fucking delicious. Absolutely freaking delicious. Thank you, Torres. Thank you, Bad Gal. Lida, Torres, Betsy. Thank you, guys. Any case. So this was interesting, actually. So Jeff Patterson, thank you for the potato in Paris hedge. Jeff Patterson, Pedersen on Twitter, put together sort of a short list of things that Trump and the Republicans say they're going to kill now. And I thought it was interesting, actually, because looking at the list, it's important to bring this up. Listen to this. Things Trump's planning on killing. $35 insulin. Joe Biden made it possible so that the price of insulin dropped to $35. Joe Biden did that. Trump and the Republicans want to get rid of it. Keep in mind, everything Trump and the Republicans do is geared towards helping business. They will always help a company over people. They don't like it when Democrats use government to get people a better deal. Okay? Joe Biden forced companies to sell insulin for $35. And the Republicans want to get rid of it because it's not fair to companies. Joe Biden, Barack Obama forced companies to give health insurance to people that have pre-existing conditions like me and to give them a fair price. The Republicans want to get rid of it because the health insurance companies want to make more money. The big corporations want more money, so they side with the big corporations, not the regular Americans. Joe Biden and the Democrats, finally, after all these years, I'm going to step back and explain this one to you because it's very interesting. And Trump's going to raise drug prices for seniors now in Medicare. For years now, Europeans have paid a lot less for drugs than Americans do. I know France in particular. I would go to France before Obamacare. I would go to France anyway a lot. And I would buy a year's worth of my asthma drugs. Thank you, Arsh. I have allergies and asthma. And I would buy a year's worth of my asthma drugs, and I would save thousands of dollars, like $4,000 buying my drugs in France. Not because the French drugs were cheap or somehow bad drugs, not because they were knockoffs. My drugs were made by these same companies. The same drug company would open a factory in America and charge 5 and 10 times what they charged for their factory in France. So they would make the drugs in France, charge the French people 10 cents on the dollar of what they charge Americans and charge Americans more. For example, one of the drugs I took at the time was called, in America, we call it Advair. The French call it Seretide. It may be the same thing in the UK, I'm not sure, but it's a thing you've got to inhale. In America, I was paying $350 a month because I had the strong version. And this was at Costco. Costco's like as cheap as you can get. There's the cheapest version you can get in the US at Costco. $350 a month. In France, I was paying $40 a month. The same company, factory in France, charged the French people $40. The same company's factory in America charged Americans $350 for the same freaking drug. Why? Because Europeans negotiate drug prices. The French have, it's complicated, but the French have a healthcare system that is not totally state-run. It's in many ways, from my understanding, it's in many ways kind of like Medicare, although a lot of Americans don't know how Medicare works. But basically, you've got like some federal protections, but then you also have like private-run policies as well, right? And the government is able to negotiate with these companies. And French government says, we've got 60 million Frenchmen. I don't know. I always forget. Alexa, how many people are there in France?
In 2024, the population of France is
64.9, 65 million. I was close. So the French government says, look, we got 65 million people. You want to come to France and you want to sell your drug and you want the French national healthcare system to cover your drug, then you're going to give us a better price. We got 65 million people. We want a better price. In America, Medicare, which is our healthcare program for seniors, for retired people, very successful, very beloved in America. Medicare has, Alexa, raise your volume. Alexa, how many Americans are on Medicare? 35, 40 million.
Sorry, I don't have an answer.
Alexa, how many Americans are on Medicare? She's pissing me off. Alexa, how many Americans are on Medicare?
I don't know that.
Oh my God. Does somebody want to Google this? She's an idiot. Hey, Google, how many Americans are on Medicare?
On the website Medicare.gov, they say more than 66 million.
Okay, ICE is correct on more than 66 million, so 67 Americans. So basically, Medicare, the federal government program for healthcare for seniors, has around the same number of Medicare subscribers as the French have citizens. The French would take their 60 million and they would negotiate. They would tell the drug companies, if you want to sell your drugs in France and you want them covered with the national healthcare system, you're going to pay a better price, right? You're going to charge $40 for this asthma drug that John buys. The Americans don't do it. There was even a law in America. The law, okay, listen to how screwed up our country is. Thank you, Louisa. The law in the US said Medicare is not allowed to negotiate drug prices with drug companies. I mean, how, you want to talk about communism or socialism? Okay. We had a law on the books. Thank you, Christian. And it still is on the books that says Medicare is not allowed to negotiate better prices using its market power. Medicare is not allowed to say, we got 67 million subscribers. You want to sell your drug to our seniors and we know you do, you're going to give us a better price. That's called capitalism, okay? It was illegal because Republicans and Democrats both got together. They were paid off by the drug companies and they passed a law that said, don't do it, you're not allowed. Well, Biden and the Democrats got it changed. There's only like 10 or 20 drugs right now so far because, again, the Republicans and some Democrats wouldn't let them do more drugs because the drug companies are freaked out. But they were able to take like 20 drugs, I think, and get better prices for those drugs under Medicare. So that seniors, some of the most popular drugs, seniors are now paying less because they negotiated it. That's an example of the kind of thing Trump and the Republicans have promised to get rid of. Thank you, Maddie. That's what they're going to get rid of. Now, what's funny, too, is I just noticed the mods just took a troll away on TikTok. That's not true. I've told you this. They're proud of their fascism, right? When Trump does all of these horrible things, they love it. They scream. And then when you repeat to them what Trump is doing and what Trump has promised to do, they freak out and they get embarrassed and say it's not true. And you kind of have to wonder, I mean, is it that they like the fascism, but they're still embarrassed of being fascist? Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Marsha. Because got news for you. Google it. As I always say, Google it. Google it. Trump has promised to get rid of it. Trump has promised to get rid of it. Thank you, Jetta. Thank you, Elizabeth. So $35 insulin is going to be gone. Medicare negotiating drug prices, gone. The Republicans plan to get rid of the Environmental Protection Agency, Health and Human Services, Department of Energy, all gone. Thank you, Randy, Fred, and Elizabeth. Consumer protections, many of them gone. Department of Labor, gone. Oh, the National Hurricane Center in NOAA. Trump, this is like one of the most amazing stories. Thank you, Chris. If Democrats were better at messaging. Trump got upset. Remember years ago, there was a hurricane when Trump was president, and he lied about the hurricane and what direction it was going, and the map from the Weather Service didn't show what Trump said. So he took a magic marker. Do you remember this? The map like showed the hurricane, going like this or something, right? And this was like the US, and Trump wanted the hurricane to go over here. So Trump took the marker and went like that he went like that on the map and drew this in front. And the Weather Service people said, that isn't our map. Because they asked him, they said, that's not our map. Somebody drew on it with a Sharpie. Trump got upset. He's now planning on getting rid of the National Weather Service. That was one of his promises because they embarrassed him. Again, that is the definition of fascism, right? You're going to get rid of the Weather Service because you lied about the weather and the Weather Service said that's not our map. So you're just going to get rid of the Weather Service? I mean, could you be a bigger snowflake, right? So a little bit more here. I didn't know national parks. Trump's going after national parks. So I wouldn't be surprised because Republicans don't care about environmental protections. Protections for pre-existing conditions in healthcare. Oh, staying on parents' insurance until 26. So another thing Obamacare did that Republicans want to kill. A lot of people don't even know this. In America, parents are allowed to keep their children on their health insurance from work until the children are age 26. When I was growing up, once you were like 21, you had to get your own health insurance. Thank you, Randy. You had to get your own health insurance. You couldn't stay on your parents because your parents typically had very good plans. Now you can stay on until you're 26. But that's because of Obamacare. That's the Affordable Care Act. That's the program that Trump and the Republicans have been trying to repeal and destroy for 8 years now. And they tried dozens of times when Trump was president, and they promised they're going to do it again. And this time they may actually do it because they could very well have control of the House and Senate. But up until now, you have been able in America to keep your children on your health insurance because of Obamacare, the very program that Trump and the Republicans are planning to kill. Reproductive rights, we know that. Abortion, LGBT rights, voting rights, paid vacations and holidays, meat inspections, you know the rest. All right, let's move over and let's talk about Ukraine a little. Today is day 986. Did I update it? Alexa, how many days has it been since February 24th, 2022?
Thursday, February 24th, 2022 was 986 days.
980. Okay, I did update it. 986 days since Putin's 3-day special military operation began in Ukraine. I love these guys. Corsi, own up and be brave. Corsi goes, unsubstantiated allegation. Donald Trump said it. Have you been under a rock? Maybe, okay, fair enough. In Russia, they don't get the news we get. Fair enough. The Republicans have tried dozens of times to kill Obamacare. There's a famous, Google it, there's a famous episode of John McCain, a famous Republican senator who Trump hated because he was a really good guy and a very conservative Republican, who was the deciding vote and stopped the Republicans, stopped Donald Trump from killing Obamacare and taking all these healthcare protections away from Americans. Okay? For you to say it's a lie is cute, except that most people who don't live under a fascist bubble can Google and they can check the news, and they will literally find the video, Google the video of John McCain voting on Obamacare, and you will see a Republican senator standing up to Donald Trump, who tried to kill protections for Americans across the board, for millions of Americans, kill their protections for their health care. Trump tried to take it away. Republicans tried to take it away. But interesting, by the way, too, they're all freaking out on TikTok now. Let's talk about this some more. You're all freaking out. Let's talk about it then. Thank you. I'm glad you're upset about it. So what they're going to do is, under Obamacare, before Obamacare, what the Republicans want to reinstitute, women would get charged more for insurance. That's what Republicans want to do. Women were considered, being a woman was a pre-existing condition. It was considered like an illness, being a woman. And the insurers, and Republicans are okay with this. They want to do this again because Obamacare stopped this. And Republicans are going to make it happen again. Insurers could say, oh, you're a woman, we're going to charge you more. Yeah, I know the guy next to you, he's your age. He lives in the house next to you. He's just as healthy as you, but you're a chick. We're going to charge you more. That's what insurance companies would say, and it's what Republicans are now going to do because Obamacare bans that. They're going to allow it. Insurance companies could turn you away for having asthma, for having high blood pressure, for having high cholesterol. It happened to a friend of mine. They turned him away because he had like eczema. I think he had high cholesterol and something else, allergies or something. 33 years old, healthy guy. They sent him a letter and said, you're denied. You're denied. Because this is what they used to do. Insurance companies would cut off your insurance after you spent too much money. My insurance, I worked on my own. Because I do this job on my own, I had the best health insurance I could buy. Okay? Because they like to say, oh, Obamacare is so bad. I bought the best health insurance I could afford. Not afford, excuse me. No. I did not buy the best I could afford. I bought the best, period. For years, I bought the most expensive insurance I could find on Blue Cross Blue Shield. My insurance covered $1,200 of prescription drugs a year. That's it. $1,200. And after that, they said, we're not covering you anymore. Remember what I told you about my asthma? My asthma drugs cost me $600 a month. Within 2 months, January and February, my insurance companies would cover me. And by March, they would tell me, we're not covering you for the rest of the year for your asthma, for any medicine at all, because they would only let me spend $1,200 a year on medicine. And in America, and this is the thing that Joyce is saying from Holland, you've got to keep in mind how expensive it is in America, okay? Like I said, my asthma drug, Seretide, in Europe, you pay 40 euros. In America, you could pay $350 for that, for the same drug. My asthma drugs were $550 a month. Within 2 months, my insurance companies would cut me off every year and tell me, we're not buying you another prescription drug until next January. That's what Republicans are planning on going back to. That is what they will do when they kill Obamacare. Under Obamacare, mammograms are free. Women getting checked for breast cancer, free. Under Obamacare, colonoscopies are free. Getting checked for colon cancer. All of that Republicans want to take away. Children up until age 26 can go on their parents' health care plans under Obamacare. Republicans plan to take that away. So thank you for all the trolls who claimed it was a lie 10 minutes ago, because I'm glad you gave me the incentive to talk for 10 more minutes about how you guys, Republicans, MAGA Republicans, are planning on taking health care away from millions of Americans. So congratulations. Thank you, KT. Thank you, Pam. So yeah, really sick. No, it's sickening. It's absolutely sickening. As I said, as somebody said on Twitter, Democrats wanted to get elected and say, what can we give you? We'll give you health insurance. We'll give you health coverage, right? We'll protect your parents when they get old, your grandparents. Kamala Harris was going to expand Medicare and help take care of people's grandparents. Republicans, they want to take away my health insurance. They want to charge me more for seniors for prescription drugs. Like, gee, thank you. Thank you. I don't disagree with you. It scrolled off the screen, so I can't see your name. Whoever said I'm making a better case than Kamala Harris did. Democrats make a shitty case. Democrats suck at messaging. Thank you, Diana. Democrats absolutely suck at messaging, and I've said this repeatedly. And I don't know what the problem is. I've been bitching about it for 40 years. Thank you, Maggie. I sort of have a joke. I'm Greek American. And I was brought up, my mom, when we were kids, you know how kids, I don't know, do kids today, do you still read fairy tales to your kids? You know, Cinderella and all that kind of stuff. Well, when I was growing up in America, like 1960s, I was a kid, your parents would read fairy tales. Now, keep in mind the American, like Grimm's fairy tales. In America, apparently, Grimm's fairy tales are actually much nicer than they are in Germany. In Germany, a lot of kids die in Grimm fairy tales. In America, they don't. And this was something very funny that I learned years ago. The German version, scary as hell. The American one, much better. Well, when I was growing up, my American friends, oh, hey, Helen, my American friends would get read fairy tales like Grimm's and Snow White and whatever. I would get read Greek myths. Right. That's what I got as a kid. I would get Greek mythology. I kid you not. I still have I brought one of the books back, actually. I've got a neat little, Hold on. I'm going to look and see if I can. 1 second. I'm going to see if I can find this. One moment. Just to prove my point to you all. Just to prove my point. Here we go. In case anybody thinks I'm not telling the truth, okay? In case anybody thinks I'm not telling the truth, this is my copy of Aesop's Fables in Greek from when I was a kid. It says Aesopou, or Aesopou, I think, Mithi, or Aesopi Mithi. I don't know if it says Aesopou or Aesopi Mithi. And it's all the different, see, it says our name, Aravosi, in Greek, in the, I'll show you. Aravosi, in Greek, in the corner. Oops, where are you? I think, oh, it's up here. Oh, you guys can see it. You guys, there we go. You can see it now. Aravosi. And it's got all of Aesop's fables. I'm not even going to be able to get all of these. The problem is some of them are very hard. Oh, is it the tortoise and the hare? Oh, the tortoise and the hare. Chelona kelagos, the tortoise and the hare. So you get it. So I was brought up with all of, actually, these fables would probably be kind of hard for me to read today. I have to admit, my mother would be embarrassed of me. Mia mera, once upon a time, enas kavuras, Virginia pototinthalasa. Oh, a crab came out of the sea. Anyway, was brought up with this stuff. And one of the things I always tell people is I call myself Cassandra because I've always been very good, and thank you for the gift, Rose. I've always been very good at, I wish I joined the CIA. I would have loved to have joined the CIA and been a spy. Not been a spy like going abroad and being a spy. But I like data. I like looking at lots of data and looking at pattern, like the weather. You know, like looking at patterns and seeing seeing things that other people don't see. Like look at all the data and go, wait a minute, something's going on here. And I'm very good at it in politics. But I've always said that my punishment is that people don't believe me. I mean, you guys believe me, but that people don't believe me. That I basically predict what's going to happen. And I say, guys, like Biden, right? I was telling you for years that Biden with Ukraine was not doing enough and Ukraine was going to be screwed. I was right. And people are like, no, Biden's doing everything he can for Ukraine. It's good enough. It's not good enough. So anyway, I call myself Cassandra. Well, the only thing is, I think every agency sucks. GF Ballman, you know what I mean? Like every agency is kind of like, I mean, now I think working in any government agency, I'd go crazy probably. Syndicate says, Alex Jones formally accepts the offer to serve as President Trump's new press secretary. I would love that. He's not going to, obviously. I would freaking love that. I would love that because it would be so embarrassing for Trump if he did that. I would freaking love that. All right, a little bit more here. Zelensky says he's unaware of the details of Trump's plan to end the war. I got news for you. Thank you, Bonzo. Donald Trump is unaware of Trump's plan to end the war. Donald Trump is a pathological liar. We already know that. And I say that not as an insult, but as a statement of fact. Donald Trump lies. That's all he does. Trump has no idea how to end the war in Ukraine. He's been lying about it. Trump got asked, what was it about his, was it his healthcare plan he got asked about? Trump, for 4 years when he was president, Trump tried to repeal Obamacare, kill Obamacare, to replace it with his own healthcare plan. But he never gave us his own healthcare plan. Trump get asked about it during remember the debate 2 months ago when Kamala Harris literally cut Donald Trump into little itty bitty pieces and then cut those pieces into even smaller pieces. She utterly destroyed him like an asteroid killing the dinosaurs. I mean, Trump was extinct after that debate, right? Trump gets asked during the debate, like, what's your plan for healthcare? It's been 8 years, guys. For 4 years, Trump tried to destroy Obamacare, our national healthcare plan, to replace it with something else. He must have had something to replace it with, right? So they asked him, what's your plan to replace it? He goes, well, I don't have a plan. I have the concepts of a plan. He doesn't have a plan after all this time. He's a liar. So when Trump says I can make peace in a day in Afghanistan, he'd said the same thing about ISIS. I've got a secret plan to kill ISIS in a day. And we were like, sure you do, Mary. Sure you do. Donald Trump's a liar. He's a pathological liar. We know that. Washington Post, 30,000 lies from Donald Trump in his presidency. So I'm not surprised that Zelensky says that Zelensky is unaware of the details of Trump's plan to end the war in Ukraine because Donald Trump is unaware of the details of Donald Trump's plan to end the war in Ukraine. It's the same problem. Anyway, a little bit more here. Biden, you know, and I'm going to criticize Biden here again because I do that, you know. Biden now says he's got all of this aid. He's going to rush to Ukraine in the next few months. There was this whole big story. Well, then I was reading the military experts, and they said that all the new aid Biden's going to rush to Ukraine before, like, Trump takes over, it's not going to get there in time. Literally, it's going to be on the way, like in the U.S. system. Trump is going to take over and he's going to kill all of it. I don't know what the hell Biden's problem is, that Biden waited. Again, what is this man's problem? There shouldn't be any U.S. aid left. There shouldn't be any U.S. aid left, right, to send to Ukraine. Biden should have sent everything. We knew we were in danger of Trump winning the election. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you, Benjamin. And Biden sat on some of the aid. And now that Trump won, says, oh, we're going to send a lot of aid. And the experts say, no, you're not. It's going to take so long to get it through the military pipeline that Trump's just going to kill it. Again, what is Biden's problem? I've told you guys from the beginning, the man doesn't want to win this war. He wanted a tie. Now, Trump literally wants Russia to win. I mean, Trump wants America to lose, so that's worse than Biden, right? But Biden still didn't want Ukraine to win the war. Very bad, very bad. What was this? Oh, actually, I wanted to read you this quote because it made me laugh. This was a quote from Russia pretending like they matter in the world. This was hilarious. Listen to this. A struggle is underway to shape a new world order as the Western-dominated era crumbles, Vladimir Putin has said. Speaking at the Valdai Discussion Club in the Black Sea resort of Sochi on the day after Trump's election, the Russian president said the West seeks to inflict a strategic defeat on Moscow. Quote, the former structure of the world is irrevocably disappearing. We can say it has already gone in a serious, irreconcilable... Also, can the guy talk in any more highfalutin words, right? We can say it has already gone in a serious, irreconcilable struggle is unfolding. It gets better. Hang on. Is unfolding for the formation of a new world order. Quote, the world needs Russia. I'm like, wait, what? What? And no decisions by supposed superior. I mean, the world needs Russia and no decisions by Washington or Brussels can change that? Like, the world is sitting there going, wait, Russia? Like, nobody in the world wants or needs Russia. This is something where you get with Russia. And I'm sorry, but it's embarrassing. Russia is no longer a world power. Russia has nuclear weapons. When they were the Soviets and they were like allies with the rutabagas, they were a power, right? When they were the Soviet Union, they were a power. They had nuclear weapons. They were very scary. They still have nuclear weapons. Their military is much smaller now. Their military kind of sucks. The Russian military is big, so they can still kill a lot of people and cause a lot of damage. They can basically, the Russian military is very good at hurting small countries like Ukraine, right? As bullies will do. Bullies are very good at hurting little people, right? Ukraine's a big country, but it's still a small country compared to Russia, the bully. But Russia likes to pretend it's like some superpower. Russia's not a superpower anymore. China is our overlords will like this comment. China is a superpower, right? America's a superpower. We've talked about this before. You could argue about India in its own way being a borderline superpower, right? Russia's not a superpower. They don't have the population. They certainly don't have the economy, right? I was reading to you about the German economy. Isn't the German economy like multiple times the size of the Russian economy or something? What's the size? Hold on. Alexa, what is the size of the German economy?
From tutorialsforbeginner.com. Germany is the fourth largest economy in the world with a GDP of approximately $4.5 trillion.
Okay, 4.5 trillion. Okay. Alexa, what is the size of the Russian economy?
Sorry, I don't have an answer.
Oh, don't be an idiot. Alexa, what is the size of the Russian economy?
I don't have an answer for that.
Alexa's like literally my brain-addled, like, ant in the closet or something. Hey, Google, what is the size of the Russian economy? Google will know.
Here's some information from the web that might possibly help. On the website
So Germany was 4.5 trillion.
Say, Russia GDP is estimated to be $8.022 trillion by World Economics for 2020.
No, Russia's not twice Germany. There's no way. Is Russia twice Germany? Is this a replay? Yes, it's a replay, honey. No, it's not a replay. Do people actually do replays on here? Do people actually do replays? I mean, Germany itself is huge, right? Is huge. But the Russians think 4.7 for Germany, but what's the Russian economy size? That's what I was trying to figure out. Bottom line is Russian GDP in 2023 was 2 trillion. So the Germans are twice as big as Russia. Yeah. I mean, Germany's twice as big as Russian economy. And the Russians think, oh, we're the big world. The Russians are not a superpower. The Russians aren't a superpower any more than Pakistan is. Pakistan has nuclear weapons too. Okay? If you consider Pakistan a superpower, then okay, I guess you can consider Russia a superpower. But for the Russians to sit here and go, the world needs Russia. What do they need from you exactly? Russia doesn't have toilets. 25% of Russians don't even have toilets. Guess the percentage of Americans that have toilets. It's 99.9% or so. 25% of Russians don't even have toilets. What does the world need from Russia? Genocide? Bad teeth? Alcoholism? I mean, literally what? Kidnapping children, which Putin is now indicted for, kidnapping children in Ukraine. I mean, John McCain, as Lenin just said, that's funny, Lenin, as Lenin just said, John McCain, famous American Republican senator, once called Russia a gas station with nuclear weapons, gas station with nukes, because they've got oil and gas, which makes them strong, I guess, economically, and they've got nuclear weapons. They don't have anything else. Culturally, Russia used to have important things in their culture. Now, right, the American culture is the envy of the world. And whether you like it or not, right, American culture rules the world. Russian culture? Really? I mean, name one thing from Russian culture that has any influence anywhere in the world? I mean, literally, right? You couldn't name it. American, you could be like, well, there's candy bars, there's music, there's movies, there's movie stars, right? Russia? Mafia, maybe? I mean, like, what is there in Russian culture that you would say has like a super impact on the world? You know? Yeah, Doyle, we were kind of being fun today just to get the trolls. I wanted to get the trolls riled up. Caviar? Russia used to have good caviar. You don't really hear about that anymore either, right? Russian caviar, you don't hear anything. Sour cream, you know? I mean, you really don't. Even ballet and stuff. You don't hear about, think about it though. You don't hear about Russian ballet anymore. Right? Remember during the Soviet years, the Russian ballet was the Bolshoi, was the world's, best ballet. I mean, right? Or on par with the best. You don't hear about Russian ballet anymore. No. Again, Fredo. Russia is Fredo. Russia is Fredo. That should be the title of my show today. Russia is Fredo. Right? I'm important. What's the Fredo line again? Help me on the Fredo line. What's the Fredo line? I'm smart. Right? That's Russia as Fredo. Dash cam videos, true. They do dash cam videos of scammers and stuff, right? Right? India has a larger GDP than something like India, superpower, becoming one. China, superpower, for sure. Russia? I just love the world needs Russia. The world needs Russia to kind of go away. That's what the world needs Russia to do. Germany will be able to provide most of the 4 billion euros promised to Ukraine next year. Ukrainian American Eugene Vindman won his bid for the U.S. House of Representatives. Vindman, very interesting. He and his brother were working in the White House. They were the ones who whistle blew the fact that Trump tried to blackmail Ukraine into basically said he wasn't going to give weapons to Ukraine unless Ukraine went and dug up fake information on Joe Biden that Trump would then use to basically win the election illegally. And Vindman went public and said, Trump did this, right? Remember, I'd like you to do me a favor, though. And he wanted him to find all this false information about Biden and Ukraine stuff. Trump then retaliated against Vindman and his brother. Vindman won, Ukrainian American. He's now in Congress. So, best revenge, serve cold, as Khan would tell you. South Korea is not ruling out supplying arms to Ukraine, but they're also not supplying them. So, Dagestan, Russian Dagestan reports intercepting a drone attack that appears to have been geared at taking out Iranian missile supplies for the Russians. So kind of cool the Ukrainians were able to do that. And finally, Putin, of course, is in full-blown sucking up to Trump mode. As you know, Putin helped get Trump elected again. The Russians called in a bunch of bomb scares at black neighborhoods where voting was taking place on Tuesday. The Russians wanted to stop black people from voting. And because Putin wanted to get Trump reelected, of course, because Trump, works for the Russians. His own chief of staff, but Trump's own director of national intelligence, for our TikTok overlords, you might want to Google this. Trump's own director of national intelligence, Dan Coates, said that that he believes Trump was being blackmailed by the Russians. Okay. So Putin now is sucking up to Trump. Big surprise. Sasha's playing with her toys behind us. Yes. Yes. Where are you hiding, little girl? I've got to do this first. She wants more. Now I'm going to get you water in a second, aren't I? I can tell that's what's coming next. Putin says on Trump's assassination attempt, Putin said, Trump's actions during the July assassination impressed me. He turned out to be a courageous person. It's not just about raising his hand and calling to keep on fighting for their common ideals. It's not just about this. A person reveals their true selves in extraordinary conditions, and this where he proved himself in a courageous way, like a man. No, Putin's not stupid. One second, getting my dog some water here. Putin is not stupid. He knows Donald Trump works for him, basically. Donald Trump, according to Donald Trump's own director of national intelligence in the White House, was convinced that Donald Trump was being blackmailed by Vladimir Putin. There is a creepy relationship there between Trump and Putin. Trump does what Putin wants. Putin is basically reeling. He's got the hook in Trump's mouth and he's reeling him in with this, right? Oh, you're such a hero. You're a courageous hero, because Trump, being Trump, has no self-control. He's very simple-minded and simple man that all you have to do is praise him and Trump will be like, okay, great. So very sad. All right. Any case, that is it for the news. We can talk a little bit. What else we got? What else we got? Keep the gifts coming, by the way. The trolls are upset. Sorry, trolls. Oh, where are we? There we go. Oh, no. I'm making fun of Donald Trump. Don't do it. Don't do it. Thank you, PC Noel. Oh, my God. Somebody's going to tell the truth about Donald Trump. We're not allowed to tell the truth about Donald Trump. That would be mean. What else we got, guys? What else we got? I think Sasha's happy to be home. She's acting like it. Yeah. She's being a bit of a pain. Like, she wouldn't let me take a nap today. I so needed a nap today. That's why I had like several cups of caffeine before the show. I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. But she was being very unhealthy, so. I'm not yawning yet. What do you think will happen to Ukraine now? I mean, Trump's a pathological liar, so that it's not clear what's going to happen to Ukraine. Again, not a single political promise of Trump should be believed. He's a liar. He also is corrupt. So if you blackmail him, if you bribe him, he will do whatever you want. Yes. You guys can see her down here. The TikTokers can see her. Hello. Hello. I'm working right now. I'm working. God. Look at this. I'm working. What are you doing? What? The TikTokers get to see her. The rest of you, not so much. I know. Oh my God. No, she's getting, it's good because like she's gotten more energy. I think like we both lost weight in Chicago, and I think it's given Sasha some new energy. But like she's gonna, hey, stop that. Relax. Hey, no, relax. Oh my God. She's got like this new energy and it's driving me crazy. She wouldn't let me nap today. I was exhausted. I was trying to take a nap. Thank you. Trying to take a nap and she woke me up. Jesus Christ. I don't know about that as is. I'm not sure that's a thing. I don't think so. Anyway, what else should we talk about? Should we talk about how Donald Trump called our troops suckers and losers for being killed in action? His own chief of staff general said that. He's going to take away Obamacare, pre-existing conditions, free mammograms for women, cheap drugs for seniors. He's planning on taking that away too. Biden got drug prices for seniors and Medicare negotiated lower. Trump's getting rid of it. He's going to raise drug prices. Economists at the Wall Street Journal say that Trump is going to cause massive inflation with his proposals, with his tariff proposals. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Dinosaurs? What about it, PTX? I'm not sure what your point is there. Elon, I'm bored of Elon. There was nothing new with Elon today. I'm not sure what the point is with Elon. What's the point with Elon today? Can the House minority impeach him? No, you can't. I mean, you have to have a majority to impeach. You can't do it with a minority. No, unfortunately. Do you need to leave the USA? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. What else? Women's rights. Well, we know that's going to be a problem, right? Because, Republicans are going to cut back on abortion rights even more, of course. Social Security. Well, the problem is, my concern is they're going to cut back on Social Security and Medicare too. That'll be the next thing. But because Republicans have always wanted to cut back on Social Security and Medicare. And Democrats have stopped them. And then they did, like Trump talked about it, then they deny it, but, Dems flipping the House. The current thinking on who controls the House of Representatives is that Democrats are, basically that Democrats are unlikely, but there's still a chance that it's more likely that Republicans will be able to keep control of the House of Representatives, but there's a chance Democrats can, but the chance is getting slimmer. So we still have to see. You never know, but it's not looking good. So, there's no chance Trump is going to go to jail. They're actually winding down the cases because the Justice Department has a policy that a sitting president cannot be prosecuted. So they're now getting rid of the cases because they wouldn't want to prosecute him. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know much, Brian, about the UK's position on Israel. I wouldn't have any idea as to sort of the internal thinking there of how that works for the Brits, I don't know about Republicans getting rid of the filibuster. It's interesting. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but let's see. I don't know. Trump talked about pardoning all the January 6th domestic terrorists. Remember that. So you can look forward to that happening soon. He chose his campaign chair or the head of his campaign to be chief of staff at the White House. I did see that. Don't know anything about her, though, to know if that's anything good. But, if she's the chair of Donald Trump's campaign, she can't be that good. Thank you, PTX. Right? She can't be that good. I mean, I'm sorry, but you want to elect a fascist president, your priorities might be in the wrong place. I'm afraid he's going to pick that crazy judge in Florida for the Supreme Court. What's her, Eileen Cannon or whatever the hell her name is? Trump. He totally would do that. Thank you, Virginia. So who knows? What else? I don't even know what that means, Shelley. Kamala Harris being given the presidency, Biden steps down and taking advantage of the presidential immunity clause. I don't know what the presidential immunity clause is. What do you mean? I'm not sure what the theory is there. I mean, now I did hear one person say, which would be very funny. They said Biden should step down, make Kamala president for 2 months, only because Trump has already spent a ton of money making gear that says 47 on his head for like the 47th president. And if Joe Biden steps down, then Kamala Harris becomes the 47th president and Trump becomes the 48th, and it screws him up for all the merchandise he bought in China, which I thought was very funny. He'd never do it, but it would be very funny. It would just make me laugh. Just as an obnoxious thing to do, Very funny, very funny. Oh my, you are out of your mind today. We will play in a minute. We're almost done here. All right, it's 23 after. We will finish in 2 minutes. I know. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're going to finish in 2 minutes here. All right. All right. Anyway. Oh, my. What can Biden do the next 100 days to protect Americans? Nothing. Nothing. Anything Biden does can get overturned by Trump. It would have to be done by the legislature. And even they could try to overturn it. Pre-existing conditions, the protections will be killed if Donald Trump keeps his promise. He's going to kill all protections for pre-existing conditions. Yep. Voters got what they wanted. You know, the American people wanted somebody who was going to take away their health care. You got it. Congratulations. So, you know, there you go. Anyway, King Rat, I am scared for us humans as well, King Rat. So anyway, I did see the UK announce new sanctions on Russia. Can Biden send more ATACMS now? The problem is Biden's talking about sending more weapons, and the military people I follow online said it's too late. Like, he should have sent them before. Anything he sends now, Trump can kill. Trump can just kill the weapons. So it was kind of stupid that Biden had any weapons that he was sitting on. Was just dumb. Very dumb. So anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to call it quits. It's about 25 after. Thank you for joining us. What is today? Thursday. We do have our show from tomorrow at 6 o'clock Eastern for everybody. And then Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern time US, we will be hanging out for our show for the paid subscribers. So anybody who's a paid subscriber on TikTok with SNN next to your name, anybody who's a paid subscriber on YouTube with a green name, or Discord, paid subscribers there, Ko-fi, Twitch as well. You guys can join us on Discord. And it's kind of just a hangout we do that's much more informal as a thank you, where you can hang out and ask me questions and talk food or whatever you want to talk about. So make sure to join us then Saturday morning, 11 o'clock. You can become a member very easily on TikTok or YouTube, or TikTok. Yeah, people can show you how. Otherwise, I'm going to get going, guys. So thank you for joining us all. Another fun night. And I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Eastern. Okay. All right. Thank you all. Have a good night. All right. Bye-bye.